Good evening, viewers around the world. You're welcome to our other edition, the 2nd of May edition of Talking Drums. Talking Drums today is a beautiful one. We have some interesting topic to rub minds with. As usual, Talking Drum is here anchored by me, Mark Godwin in Milan, Italy, and I have my co-hosts all around too. So, yeah, Dr. Dumebio Kapfor, are you there? Welcome to Talking Drums. Talking
Thank you so
Drums,
much, Mark.
man.
Welcome, viewers, to this week's edition. Happy to get back to you to be the drums of discussion and see how we can help to grow understanding and reduce differences, on the matters that impact us every day. We are on the same Nigerian series of talks because, of course, of evolving issues on the land and the importance of this to our social developmental maturity. Thank you for joining us,
Thank
and
you.
yeah, I promise we're gonna have a good
Yes.
time.
Thank you, Dumebi, Dr. Dumebi. Also, in faraway Toronto, Canada, is our man, George Chuku. So, George Chuku, you welcome to Talking Drums.
Thank you so very much, and I want to welcome viewers from around the world. We welcome you to our show today. It's going to be an exciting one as always. So we're here to do the drum beats of the voiceless in Nigeria, to put our heads together to make sure that our collective good is coming to pass even in these last days.
We're here to do the drum beats, loud one, hard drum beats. Thank you, gentlemen. The drum beat starts with something very important happening in Nigeria, and also it affects the world. Like you all know, we had the 2023 election, and there were too many shortcomings, too many issues affecting that election, and that was supposed to be one of the best elections Nigerians will have in recent years. But now another step into it is that the US has imposed visa ban on Nigerians undermining in democracy. Gentlemen, the question now is, who are these Nigerians undermining democracy? Why is United States imposing ban on them, and many more? So let me begin with you, Dr. Dumebi. Nigeria has the United States have imposed um, visa ban on Nigerians undermining democracy. Yesterday morning, the uh, United States Secretary of State Anthony Blinken disclosed this to press people. He said that the administration of Joe Biden is committed to advancing democracy in Nigeria and around the world. So they won't take any of those shortcomings that happened in the election. So, Dr. Dumebi, what's your take on this? What's your take on this?
Well, it's still early days yet. It's a welcome news, welcome development. We want to believe that the world is indeed interested and concerned in happenings in Nigeria. Nigeria is the most populous black nation in the world and a regional, power in Africa and an emerging world power. And so, as I like to say, as Nigeria turns, so the world turns. And so, it's important to have evidence of the concern and consideration of especially Western powers, but the International Committee of Nations in what's going on here, because of course the uh, focus of the world on Nigeria is important. Focus and the involvement of the world in what's happening here is important to the hope, the prospect for proper resolution of whatever impasse, um, political debacle we're going through today. Having said that, the hope is that we have the Americans, holding on to what they are, are pledging to do and seeing it through there is a lot of evidence of, you know, bad governance and the bad government players, using these Western shores and countries as the destination of their corrupt practices in holding, properties and accounts and business interests that cannot be accounted for by their, proper, income from their government positions. And this seems to bother nobody. So this is a step in the right direction. The hope is that it will be, adhered to in all its principles, and this ban will be enforced to begin to pass the message that the eyes of the world are on Nigeria and that they intend to do whatever they can within the powers in their jurisdiction to see that anybody who is, perceived or adjudged to be obstructing the course of democratic, evolution in Nigeria will be called to book and, brought to justice one way or the other. It's an important message, and it needs to be replicated by other Western powers and other, in fact, other, our international partners in progress.
I think you're muted.
Yes, yes. Sorry, I can hear you very well. You said those ending words were very vital. It's an important message, and it needs to be replicated by other economic business countries. George, the issue now is in the past they've done this, but the United States don't really uphold most times this sanction. Somehow our politicians find their way to America even after a lot of atrocities, and they still get involved. They still do business in America. They still buy house, buy homes, buy property, do all these things. So America and Britain becomes like an accomplice to the bad governance in Nigeria. Do you agree with this, George?
Well, first and foremost, thank you for the question. We have to, knowing who we are and the way we have been operating, it is a good move, number one, for them. But I don't see them just announcing this at this late hour, past the election, whether it would do much justice. Most of these people in Nigeria that did this stuff, MC Oloma was already in America. He went there not too long ago, and he was the primary individual that actually brought about threatening folks and all that kind of stuff. So now my question is, where did they get the names that they have used? And what are those names? Because to just announce something that is blanket without actually publicizing the names of individuals does not really make any difference, because they can tell you, I can go to London, I can go to Dubai, I can go to any other country. So simply because you are saying that you're going to stop me from coming to your country does not really, post the election, I'm not quite seeing what good this is really doing now after, it's like Nigerians would say medicine after death, But the question still remains, who are these people that you have actually sanctioned? What are their names? Are they the same names that we know that contributed to the mess that took place during the election in Nigeria? Because if you just announce your, telling people, telling us that you're going to stop them from coming to the United States of America, who are they? Where did you get the names from? How did you get it? Are they authentic names, or are they just names given by those people who are actually the culprits to all of this? It's just like, telling a police officer to investigate himself. So that's our question right now. We understand and we appreciate, that type of spirit, in coming to enhance democracy in Nigeria. But also, the question is, if you're fighting against these people who actually, you say that are trying to, destroy the democratic process in Nigeria, what about the present government? What about the INEC and what they did? The whole world, right in our faces, made a promise and they never fulfilled that promise. Are these part of the people that you're talking about? Because the case is in court, yes, we're not talking about that, but yet, are you just talking about locals, people who came out, the hoodlums that they sent out there to come and destroy, pick up ballot papers, the police, police officers who actually helped? Or are you talking about the main culprits who actually were the ones who sabotaged this whole entire process, where INEC promised something and lied in the face of everybody, and then we saw how they hijacked the presidential election? But any other election was okay, but they hijacked that particular one. So who are we talking about here? Because if we have to dig down into it, we have to go all the way to make sure that the process from the foundation is cleansed. So that's my input into that one.
Nice. Thank you very much for that input. While we were talking, something is coming in from this same issue, and it is that an organization, a democratic organization in Africa says U.S. owes it to Nigerians to name those placed under this visa ban. This is coming from the head of that organization called Hamzat. Hamzat is a young man. He said the United States owes it to Nigerians to name those places. So it's not just telling us that there's a visa ban, but it is also telling us who is in that ban, because they have their lists by now, obviously. So we need to know who's in that list, and we need to also look into the list with them, and probably go along with it, whatever plan it is. Dr. Maybe we all know that America sometimes do this as a show. You were telling me backstage how this is coming up because of the tussle for economic benefits in Nigeria, and that's between America, Russia, China, and all these new emerging business partners. So what will you add to this thing? Hamzi just said they owe it to Nigerians to name those placed under this visa ban. So I think it's a very, very valid talk. What will you say about what this organization is talking?
Yeah, first of all, I would want to quickly add something to what, make a rejoinder to what Sir George was saying. The problem with, having a broader scope of, reactions to what's happening in the country is the issue of sovereignty. There's a limit to what another country can do, no matter how willed or purpose they are, because of course that country is a sovereign nation, and it behoves the country itself, given the powers of sovereignty, to deal with its own problems as it sees fit. So that's a limiting factor, and that's why we cannot, for example, say why didn't they do anything, intervene during the the chaos of the presidential election, or take further stern action in its very disastrous aftermath. So one has to really be patient with them, patient with the paucity, the very poor efforts that this all amounts to correct what's on the ground, which seems to be the principally responsible for dealing with our own problems before anybody else can come in. But having said that, it is true that if this is the limit of what they can offer at this point, then it has to be thorough. And I definitely agree with Mr. Hamzat, who you just quoted, that one of the cardinal things is disclosure. If you have people that you are putting on the list, then it should be public domain information. We should know about that, and if possible, there should be some form of Congress, some form of interaction, discourse with the Nigerian, people on who else should be on the list. What do they think about who else should be on, and then for them to investigate that further, to thoroughly do this and properly do this, because I'm sure there are a lot more people than you can shake a broom at that are entitled to being banned for their efforts there. But again, we're talking about the Americans, and they can be quite thorough, and maybe they have a satisfactory list already. It will help to know about this. Having said that, I want to go back to what I said initially, that we hope It's not just something that's been done simply to show empathy at a very superficial level, simply because the Americans now, of course, are in a tug of war with Russia and China for the soul of Africa. It's a new it's a new battle for the African space, and it's you know showing up in such theaters as Sudan, where there's a proxy war going on between America and Russia right now. They just reached an accord. We hope that holds. But this was going on, and it is, uh, a rising threat to the peace of the continent. And so we hope it's not just a grandstanding to show, superficial sympathy for Nigerians during this struggle, and that they mean it and they will go all the way to ensure that the liberties that are promised and entrenched in the left side of the American political spectrum, i.e., the Democratic Party, and of course, the White House, Democratic White House, in the presidency of Mr. Biden, will actually, do what it says and give all it can to supporting the struggle for justice in Nigeria, in this current situation in Nigeria post the presidential election. So there's a lot of ifs here, but I think yes, the bottom line is that it will help, to really help, if we can get the list published and to see who and who, and that's also a way of attesting to the sincerity and the actuality of this. Because if those guys can travel and we are all witnesses to this, we know that it's actually in effect. But if we don't know who's on the list, then we don't know who's not supposed to travel. And if they do, how do we know anything is working? So to carry everybody along and to show transparency in this commitment of theirs, then it would be nice to have that list made public for sure. I agree.
Thank you very much. It would be nice to have that list of those that are on this travel ban. Yes, viewers around the world, you're still tuned to Talking Drums. Talking Drums for global audience today, Tuesday, 16th May 2023. I'm here with my colleagues and we are putting some real strong discussion on ground. It is still on the traveling ban on last election. United States government has imposed visa ban on Nigerians, so-called Nigerians that are undermining democracy. Now, George, let me say this. We've known that from time beginning, Nigerian politicians, Europe, America is their hideout. When they take the loot from our treasury, they come to America, they buy homes, they buy property, they buy everything, and they've been doing this for years now. They've been doing this since we've known Nigeria. Um, it seems like they are accomplice. That's what we call them, because how come they want a good life for people and they still aid and abet these same countries with the crime from their governors. I know a lot of governors in Nigeria, past and present, that owns property, choice property in America, choice property in the UK. I mean, we just came up with the one of Tinubu's son buying a property that was also gotten from our commercial wealth, and now it's owned by Tinubu, they said, Nigerian president. So, George, how do we really tackle this? Because this is something that is age long and it's been going on. These governors will become governors, and one day half of the treasury of that state, half of the treasury of his ministry will go to America for property. Will come to Europe, Switzerland, France, Germany, Italy, Spain. They buy property all over. Now they are even shifting to Dubai, buying choice property. George, what will you say about this?
Well, the only thing to say is that we need to wake up. A few weeks ago, we were talking about Tinubu's son buying a property worth of $11 million. Today, it's no longer news among us. It's like we sleep, we wake up, it's past tense. Nobody talks about it anymore. Abacha's loot Nobody talks about it anymore. The Zionist loot, nobody talks about it anymore. And if the money was recovered or paid back, we don't know what actually, does it go from one thief's pocket to another thief's pocket? There are no accountabilities in our country. It's so sad. And it is very sad because what we are looking at right here is, the seeming hypocrisy of some of these world power. When it comes to same-sex marriage, they are able to drum the beats so loud that the country is refusing to allow same-sex marriage, and they're able to cut off some, welfare that they're giving to them, or want to cut them out. But when it comes to stuff like this, where thousands of people are dying because of bad governance in our country, and the inheritance of the whole entire nation is being hijacked by a few number of people, and they recycle government among themselves. Does it mean that this war country does not know about it, or these war powers, and they refuse to talk about it because we are a sovereign country? If we're a sovereign country, why are you disturbing us about same-sex marriage? If you're not going to come and talk loud about the corruption that is killing a lot of people, let's have an even ground to talk about these things, because it's supposed to be an equal opportunity. Yeah, let's say you are our grandparents or our senior brother or senior sister when it comes to democracy. You got to go to the foundation. Speak out loud against what you see and against what you know that is messing up the democracy in the country. And that same vigor that you use in talking about other issues that are very important to you, talk about this also, because it's important to the people of Nigeria. So don't you pick and choose what you're going to drum beat on and so others you just let go. The point that we are making is there is a lot of looting going on in our country. Okay, there's a lot of talk about corruption that is happening, and a lot of them, put themselves into government, and now they're recycling the government among themselves, and nobody says anything. So it's one of those things that we are really talking about, and that's what drum beat of talking drum is really all about. Because when you really look into this whole entire thing, you begin to see the reason why we're here. You see, in a world increasingly pushed apart by our differences, that's what we're talking about. Okay? Religion, ideological differences in politics, tribalism, and all those type of things. There comes a time when we show how to do the drum beat, and that's what we're doing here. That's why we are saying, oh world, listen to us. People are dying in our countries. It's unreported. There are no statistical analysis to tell us how many people that are dying of hunger. Decisions are being made for selfish reasons, and it's killing a lot of people. We want good governance in Nigeria. We want new government, new Nigeria, where everybody have an equal opportunity to come and use their resources and use their talents and skills and get paid for it. In 2023, we're still talking about no light in Nigeria. And we're still, just lollygagging about. So what we are saying is the reason why we are here is to call out the voices of the voiceless. Let the drum beat these voiceless people, so that the power that be can hear and maybe find a way to influence what is going on in our country. We are in a deplorable state, and it doesn't seem like it's getting any better.
Wow. Strong words, George. Strong words. George and Dr. Dumebi, you've said so much on this. We hope the powers that be are listening, and we are speaking directly to the Western world, to America, to the UK, Italians, Spanish, every of this country that does business with this corrupt government, that allows them to come buy property in their country, come do business, do things, buy shares. They buy shares. Do you guys know? Our leaders take our money and come buy shares with companies that are on the forex, on the stock market. Now that money is blood money, but they buy shares, and these companies allow them. Some notable Nigerians have shares with Amazon, with Twitter, with all these big conglomerates in the United States. I'm telling you, I have the list. So it's time The hypocrisy is enough. It's time the West realize that Africa is suffering, Nigeria is suffering, our Commonwealth is being stolen, and they support them in that act. Thank you very much, gentlemen. So this is Talking Drums. Talking Drums today, 16th of May, and there's still one more drum to talk about, George and Dumebi. That drum is something good for our country. I mean, we rarely have good news come out of Nigeria. So when there's one, we run with it. And that good news is the young lady, there's a young Nigerian lady called Hilda Bechi, the Nigerian who cooked her way to world record. You know, we watched as in the live of show where this young lady, Chef Hilda, made a promise of what she said. She has said this a long time ago. She said a long time ago that she was going to cook meal in front of people and make the Grammy Award, the Guinness Book of Records. Yes, now she did that. She started on Thursday, May 11th, somewhere in Lekki, in Lagos State, Nigeria. And she went through till yesterday, and now she has shut down the Guinness Book of Record as the woman that stayed 100 hours cooking. Gentlemen, what do you say about Hilda? That's a good news, at least. Something to cheer us about. To maybe, what do you say about Hilda? That's her there. The young lady.
Until this happened, I never really knew about Hilda. But now I join, the throng of Nigerians who are proudly, responding to her achievement and her triumph. It's a parable of, it's saddening it saddens me when I see this kind of thing. It saddens me because it's a validation of what I have always known: the power, the beauty, the indomitableness of the Nigerian spirit. And if that could just be given its right expression, the world would be a better place for it. To stand for and be busy cooking for 100 hours, I learned that what she was allowed was 5 minutes break every day, every hour, so she would accumulate the hours and have a bit more time. Maybe in 12 hours, have an hour to, just rest a bit. But that amounts to continuity. To do that straight for 100 hours, I mean, that's really something. And like I said, it breaks your heart to know that she's one of 200 and something million people who have just about as much spunk to offer the world stage. It's sadly. That's what we're talking about. That's Nigeria for you.
George, I know you grew up. George, I know
you know what? I am going to.
I was going to say something, George. Can I say this?
Here we go. Here, this is to Hilda Bucci.
That's the best. That's the best toast right there. Yeah.
I make sure that
what's that you're having? What's that?
Congratulate you.
Don't behave like the Americans. Disclose to us what you are eating.
What I'm eating is I'm eating a dekaiko soup, which is from our area.
Nice.
With, meat. So Hilda, congratulations on your world record, Guinness Book of Record. And I'm going to eat this on your behalf.
George, I want to say while you're eating, I want to say this before we go off. Also, George, I know you grew up as a young man. You grew up with your mom staying in the kitchen hours and cooking. I mean, a lot of us had that experience. So yes, Hilda has done this on the global stage, but I know a lot of mothers, African women, can do this. I mean, they do this effortlessly. They stay on the stove, they stay on their cooking pot, in the wood fire and all these things, and they stay there hours. Because I remember party happening, there's a wedding happening, and these women will be out there for 2 nights, 3 nights cooking. Is that not so, George?
It is so, because my mom had 14 kids.
Oh dear, look at that.
My mom had 14 kids, so you can imagine, the hours spent in the kitchen. So we are 14 in number, one mom, one dad. So we have a twin plus another set of triplets plus the rest of us. Wow. So when you think about the hours spent in the kitchen daily, then that's why I can appreciate Hilda for what she did. Because I watched my mom making sure that none of us ever went hungry during her days here on earth, and God bless her soul.
Thank you
she's
very
a fantastic superwoman. So Hilda, congratulations on this record that you broke, and we'll be cheering with you all the way to the top. Because I know you got some more things in your pocket, and I know you're going to break another record, World Guinness Book of Records soon. And congratulations to Nigeria too. We are good people. That's why we are here, to make sure that the best out of us comes out. Now we thank you all for.
Thank you very much. Maybe what words do you have? We're going off now. What do you want to say?
Thank you, viewers, for joining us today. We wish we had more time, but again, we'll be here next week, and where we hopefully will be sounding the drums on some breaking issues. Thank you all.
Sounding the drums on some breaking issues.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, viewers.
You've
heard it from the men all around with the in-depth knowledge of what's going on, and we've just hit the drum. So this is it, Talking Drum today, 16th of May, 2023. My friends, colleagues, Big George, Dr. Dumebi from Lagos, we say, till we come your way again, keep eating the African food. African food is what it is now. Nourishing, very, very, with all nutrients, and very tasty. We have good food in Africa, and Hilda has put us on the stage. Thank you. Bye-bye.
You're welcome. Thank you all.